give us a nice little overview of Shopgate, what you guys do, how it works, all that fun stuff.
Absolutely. So I think the key to Shopgate is that, so we've been in business since 2009. And our goal has always been to connect brands with buyers in whatever format that means. So in 2009, Shopgate actually started as a marketplace, quickly moved to mobile websites because at that time most templates weren't responsive, or spinning up another separate mobile website wasn't really, it was somewhat prohibitive. You had to have a lot of custom dev. So retailers were having a challenge with that. Once websites became more, templates became more responsive and mobile websites, a separate mobile website wasn't needed, we moved into the native app space. And so that's really where we live right now. We have some really big changes coming though, but the core of our company is figuring out how brands can connect with their buyer in any means. So whether that was a marketplace, a mobile website to native app, and then some of the other really cool omni-channel features we have coming soon.
So you guys have pivoted a lot. Yes. for most companies in a little bit less than a 10-year span. Love the app idea though. It's definitely, that's one of those things where, because when you and I first started working, I was with an e-commerce company a while ago, and they had, I believe they originally had some issues with responsiveness on their site, so they came to you guys. And then obviously things evolved, things changed, and we started to utilize the app, which was fantastic for them. But I don't see the industry getting into apps too much like they did with responsiveness. So I feel like you guys might have finally pivoted into the right area. I love the app idea because we're big on getting buyers to subscribe to anything. So obviously email or following you on social media or doing a chatbot and subscribing to the new messenger things that are going around. But having an app, like you literally have the ability to just ping them whenever you want. And if you're doing a big discount or if there's some kind of news or anything like that, if you actually do a ton of content marketing and you're putting out like newsworthy type blog posts, like it's amazing to be able to have that app and be able to have that communication with the buyer.
Yeah, for sure. A few things we look at that makes a brand a really good candidate for an app is if they have a large social media following or a very large newsletter list, because you've got consumers who've committed to your brand. Yeah. So if you have a repeat purchase type of brand, like grocery, so we have Black Rifle Coffee, who have a really established brand. That's something that's continuously repeated. A repeat purchase. If you're fashion, pet supplies, anything that you're looking to buy more of, or if you've just got a brand following that loves your brand and they're evangelists. So Grunt Style is one of my favorite. I think these guys, they've locked down the veteran kind of apparel market, and their app is actually through Shopgate, and it works so well because those guys want to know exactly what's coming out, when it comes out. And the other thing is that's really cool about push notifications is that, or apps, are that you have push notifications. So we see that in industry standard, you can find this, everybody go Google it if you don't believe me, but emails take about 6.5 hours to open on average. That's what you see as a retailer, where push notifications are about 15 seconds. The other thing that's really cool about push notifications is it's way fewer clicks to get to the purchase, and you're already logged in. You can use Apple Pay, so you can get a push notification from Grunt Style, open it, say, yeah, I have to have that shirt, here's my size, Apple Pay, moving on. And that's in the time you've ordered your coffee to when you've picked it up at the counter, versus getting an email, clicking through, opening mobile web, logging in. It's a completely different process, and it's just a streamlined, easy process that consumers enjoy.
Yeah, it's amazing. Every time I have these, I always end up like, I do my due diligence beforehand, like who am I talking to? What does the company do with you? Luckily, I didn't have too much I had to do. But as I started to dig into it, I started to realize, like, even so I have a great example of a seller who I will probably end up reaching out to you soon. We're redoing his site right now, but as soon as we finish. So he sells collegiate apparel. Not the world's largest social following right now, which is part of the reason why we're working with him. But to be able to say, like, hey, this weekend, FSU's playing UM. We can just ping people that have subscribed to just the UM notifications, and we can say, like, hey, you guys won, here's 15% off, congratulations, kind of thing. Like, having that ability to personalize even the notifications to actually hit the customer at the right time is fantastic. Or even if we would have the ability to do, if we're doing blog posts or something like that, and we posted something that was relevant to a team that someone liked, like, it's such a great idea to, like, I would want to download that app. Just because I'd go, hey, if we win, I'm probably going to celebrate by buying a T-shirt or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So how does it all work? So is it like I can send you a site and then you guys have developers? Is it kind of like drag and drop? How is it you can create the app?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways. Originally, our app platform was really built for SMB, where you did a free trial and you set up your app yourself. But we're seeing that brands really want a more complex experience, and that apps make a lot of sense for, I'll tell you where we fit in really well. There's a lot of players in the market who cater to the SMB market. It's very simple to spin up an app. There's not a lot of complexity or customization. And then there's the really big players who it's a completely custom experience. We are such a good fit for that mid-market space where we still give the retailer a lot of control. We build the integration, so we're integrated to almost every e-commerce platform out there. And if you have a homegrown system, we can just plug right into it. It's no big deal. And your payment gateways and your loyalty programs and reviews, we can plug into all of that so that you get a similar experience to your desktop site. But what's different is we've got a layer of complexity built in where we can really customize the app based on your needs, but also still give you a lot of control. So we do have a widget library you can drag and drop and set up your desktops or your mobile home site to match your desktop site, or you have something just happened in the market and you want to throw a new promotion up on your homepage, your merchandising team can do that immediately. So we try to have a balance of making sure you have complete control, but we can also set up a site that makes an app that makes sense for you.
Nice. So case studies. What are some let's sandwich it. Give me someone who was great, who worked out really well, and you guys always talk about them as like, this was the perfect scenario. Give me one that didn't work out, and then you can close with another one that was really great.
Yeah, no problem. So I've got a bunch that have worked out for different reasons. There's all different types of retailers. So, I think one of our marquee clients is Mizuno, and they're not, they retail directly to consumers through their website. And so they built this app. Obviously, that's a brand that reaches a big audience, and they have a lot of repeat buyers. But they also sell through other retailers. And so we've set up with them geo-targeted push notifications, and we're just launching it now. So if they're in a retailer, say in Austin, we have Tyler's, for example, as a local sporting good retail store. If Mizuno has a coupon or an offer through Tyler's, if you're within a range of Tyler's, we'll send you a push notification to alert you. And Mizuno actually does that to drive the consumer into their retailer store to complete that purchase. So it's actually a very interesting experience being a branded manufacturer and using a mobile app to drive consumers in store. I mentioned Grunt Style, which is an online pure play, and it works great for that too because you've got those brand evangelists. And then we've also got retailers who have their own stores. So we've got one of our big ones is City Gear. They're in the Northeast. You might have heard of them, like kind of in that area.
Familiar,
But they are like a Foot Locker of that area. So it's all sneakers. A lot of brand evangelists. They put out the hottest new shoes before anybody else. They've got a big backlog of it. So people are watching for their emails. Naturally, they're going to watch the push notifications and know when they can go in store and when it's available. So that's a good example of online and offline working together. Where it really didn't work is when you don't have a marketing team that's ready to promote an app. So you have to put the work into the app the same as you do a website. So you build emails, you build segmentation, you do the same things for your push notifications. You manage the app, or you manage your website and you promote your website through Facebook, social channels, paid. You have to do the same thing with the app, and you have to ultimately drive downloads. But once you have the downloads, you have to drive engagement. So we've typically only seen that with really small retailers who have limited, marketing or merchandising resources. That's really where it fails. And I don't necessarily want to give out any names because even our breakups have usually still been amicable. We've had retailers come to us and say, look, I just don't have a team that can do email and push and desktop and app. And for them, it didn't make sense to not have both because ultimately, retention and acquisition happens on a desktop. And although we have several new cases where we're proving new user acquisition on native apps, it's predominantly there for retention. So you've kind of got to have your house and your desktop first.
Okay. So earlier you mentioned you had some things that you guys are releasing soon. Anything that you can secretly tell anyone from here on out?
Oh, Instagram's a secret. Perfect. There's some things. I think, the way I'll speak to this is, I've been in this business. I know you've been in this business for a long time, and all we've heard is omni-channel, omni-channel, omni-channel. And very few people are doing it effectively, and I don't know many retailers who are doing it perfectly. Most retailers, I think, have done a really good job of lining up their multi-channel strategy, but then they're still disconnected. And they're all trying to figure out this way to connect that experience so the consumer doesn't recognize that there are different channels, and that if they buy something online, they can't return it in store. Or if you're on the mobile app, you can't order it and then run down the street and pick it up. And we're starting to see some of those basics come up with retailers, but it goes even a level further. And so what we believe is that mobile is that link between online and offline. And so we're keeping with our mobile apps, but we are launching a suite of solutions for omni-channel. So we expect to start seeing this sort of digital layer over the physical store. With all the talk about, everything's going to go online, I think that's opposite. I think there's going to be a change in the way physical stores operate, but they're not going to disappear. Ultimately, ultimately, I want to buy a couch. I want to go into the store and I want to feel the fabric and I want to sit on it. Is it comfortable? But then I'm not sure how I feel about it, and I go home. With the mobile apps, you saw it in Apple's keynote. Now you can measure your space right there. You were in the store, you saw it. You go home, you measure the space right there. You use augmented reality to see it there, and you have to have it. Then you order it on the app, and that is such a seamless, beautiful experience for a consumer, and it ties in all of those, sort of online and offline attributes. So what we're looking to do in Q1 is launch solutions that help retailers do that and pull all those experiences together. We're always still going to have the mobile app that, again, like I said, is sort of that link. And we do believe in the direct communication that push notifications give retailers to consumers. But there has to be a lot more behind it for that to work. We want it to work for that mid-market segment.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Cool. So I'm interested the purchasing options. I assume obviously no one works for free. I assume your compensation is kind of based off of obviously a setup or something along those lines, and then a mix of percentage of sales or something like that. Am I in the right ballpark?
Nope.
No, so it's just setup. Okay. So
the only implementation fees that we charge are for customizations that are outside of the platform we have. And actually what we prefer is we've got a big network of solutions implementation partners who already run a lot of the retailers' websites and other channels. And so we work with them to actually build out those customizations. So a lot of the implementation fees are actually going to our partners that already work with the retailers. And then the rest of our subscription is all SaaS. So it's flat rate. We are introducing some tiered pricing based on total active installs, not just downloads, but active installs on your phone, on your users or in your consumer's phone, mostly to help smaller retailers sort of get in the market and then grow that way. So instead of taking a transaction fee and growing with retailers that way, we're doing it based off of users, but we're, predominantly a flat rate fee.
Okay. So the reason I ask is actually for my own selfish reasons. So one of the things that we've started to promote here is treating your website kind of like it's your own personalized marketplace, as opposed to so we work with a lot of Amazon sellers as well as people that are off Amazon. And what we've started to realize is people treat their Amazon business differently than they treat their e-commerce business, or than they treat, their Walmart business or anything like that. Like, they're all completely separate, and it doesn't make any sense to us. And they're different than the way
they treat their physical stores if they have physical stores.
Exactly. Yeah. So we started to do this whole approach where why not bring everything into one? Take your website, obviously have your buy now button, but have a available on Amazon button and link them directly to the product. Have them an available on Walmart button, have them linked directly to product. Let the consumer shop wherever they're most comfortable, so that way, A, you're getting a little bit more legitimacy by saying we sell in all these places, but you're also, giving the consumer somewhere that they prefer to shop at. Or if you may lose that sale if, I want to buy a t-shirt from you, but I also need shampoo. I'd rather just go to Amazon for that. So why not give them that option? And having that customization, that ability in an app is fantastic, because you can ping people and say like, hey, we have a sale going on just on Amazon right now. And you can have all those options of everywhere that the consumer may prefer to shop. So that way, they're a little more comfortable. You'll actually transact a little bit more. Yes, Amazon, they take more margin and all that fun stuff. There's ways around that, but regardless, I love the omni-channel approach and really trying to bring it all like into one place. That's awesome.
Let me ask you this, and one, make sure I'm understanding you correctly, but one of the things that we do in the app is you do have the ability to check out with Amazon and pay with Amazon. So we're not actually driving consumers to say at that point, here's a link to open it on Amazon and complete the purchase. Because through the app, when you choose the Amazon Pay option, it already pulls in your payment options, your shipping. It's still, generally almost as easy on Amazon. It's not that one click, but it's still pretty easy instead of driving them away from the app. Is that something that you're doing on the desktop, or are you driving them directly to the Amazon Marketplace?
So we usually do both. So typically what will happen is the reason we do the Amazon Pay thing is obviously for the ease of it. It's already filled out. It has all your shipping information, everything like that. But the reason you still get people who bounce is because they can go to Amazon and get it in 2 days in most cases, or they want to buy 15 other random things that you don't have on your site. So by giving the consumer the option to go somewhere else and allow them to leave and shop on Amazon, we always try, every time I have a conversation with a seller about this, they immediately, red flag goes up, like, well, I'm going to lose, I'm going to not gain the customer's information. I'm going to, there's margin that I'm going to end up giving up to Amazon and blah, blah. There's two things with that. One, if the person says, I don't want to shop on your site, I'd rather get everything at once and guarantee to get it in 2 days, I'm going to go search on Amazon. If they search for your product on Amazon, you run the risk that you're going to get caught up with a competitor and they're going to shop with a competitor. To keep the information of the customer, what we've started to do is on that available on Amazon button is actually put what the price is on Amazon, so that the way they don't go and check it out, but then have a pop-up, have like a 10% off for staying on our site and shopping with us. Giving up 10% on your site is wildly still more profitable than giving up 30, 40% to Amazon. So we're legitimizing the brand. We're giving the customer the options to shop anywhere else if they want, but if they want to save a buck or two, they can actually stay on your site. So what we're doing is Amazon is forcibly driving our costs down on our site, or our price of the product on our site, but we're getting to keep the customer, and we can retarget to them in the future, and we can have the opportunity to tell them, like, hey, if it's a consumable, you bought 30 days ago, come back and shop, or hey, we're running a sale, or obviously you have all the standard stuff that you can do.
I love that. I'm curious how many retailers are sort of asking for that, or if it's something that you're actually presenting to them, how many are, biting on it? And you can give me sort of maybe a percent.
Sorry, it never ceases. It always happens. I tell people, hey, I have a live video, don't call me, and they call me every time. So
no problem. Did you hear my question?
I did. So we've been starting to get it a lot. And for those that we don't get it for, it's been stuff that we've brought up and they go, wow, I didn't even think about that. Because everyone sees my Amazon business is becoming so big that I can't seem to get any sales on my e-commerce business. So I'm just spending all my money driving traffic to Amazon, but you can't track that conversion. You can't tell if your advertising money is actually worth it or not. Right. So you're kind of swinging in the dark. With the button on your website, for the social ads and Google ads or anything like that, you can hack the conversion code to actually track those conversions. So if they click, you can actually see, okay, someone actually did click on that button, so I know I drove traffic to my Amazon business. For Amazon, they actually have the Amazon affiliate program. You can sign up for the affiliate program easy, like everyone gets accepted. You use that link, and you can actually track your own sales. The only red flag we've put out every time we suggest to do that, if you really want to know if they converted or not, is we have heard that you shouldn't withdraw that money. You should just let it sit in the account. Is the one red flag we've heard, like, hey, if you want to do it to track, great, but you have to be strong enough to not go and withdraw.
I'm sure Amazon wouldn't appreciate that kickback, so having to do that. I think that that's actually a really interesting piece. Something that's really big for us here at Shopgate is that consumer acquisition costs are really high, and a lot of retailers aren't profitable on that first purchase. So it's interesting to think that if you were to spend the money on paid search or social advertising or sort of any of those channels, a consumer would click through to your website, look at your product, think I really want that, but then go to Amazon and you've lost them. Where when you have that click through, you know what your margins are on Amazon, and you can sort of calculate what your acquisition cost or your loss on that first purchase actually is. And the reason that's so important with apps is that if you can get your loyal buyers, so your 10, top 10, 20% of buyers to download your app and connect with you maybe in the same way that you would try to get them to download your newsletter. And so we have a lot of retailers who say, download the app, get 20% off your first purchase, or, download the app. One thing that City Gear does is, like when the new Yeezys come out, they're going to send a push notification to everyone who's downloaded the app first before they email anyone. So you get exclusive offers and insight that is actually probably more valuable than a coupon or a discount.
Nice.
In a lot of cases for consumers. So the goal is retention. It's to keep them coming back and back again without having to spend any additional dollars.
Yeah. And that's what we started to realize where the biggest problem with Amazon is, and we never really see them fixing this problem, is retention. Yeah. But the interesting thing is so we found I'm sorry, I'm going to end up nerding out here. So we found a loophole, kind of, where you can send, after someone purchases on Amazon, you can send a automated email to request a review, but there's wild limitations. You can't put your site on there, you can't put your email, you can't put your phone. Like, it's just simply, thank you for ordering, would you like to purchase? You can customize it and make it all pretty, but you can't send them anywhere else. However, what we've learned is that Amazon doesn't index if you include a file. And if the file is a PDF, it sends with no problem. So if you have an ebook that you're providing them extra value for, and at the end of that ebook, it says download our app for an extra 10% off next time you purchase, you're driving them away from Amazon, and you're going to end up trying to keep that seller, and Amazon's robots that they have set up won't catch you. Now, we always warn the seller, we can set this up for you and we can help you do this, but we are not responsible if you accidentally get an order from an Amazon employee and they flag you. But we have found some loopholes around ways to actually get people to come back, even if they just went to Amazon. Yeah. But if you drive that traffic to your site and you then, they click on that button, and let's say you do it through Facebook, you can then take that and create your own custom audience of people who click that button and run traffic to them specifically, and just do something to get their email. So then you can worry about saving them later.
So I love that. A lot of our retailers they're kind of going a little bit old school with some of their Amazon purchases or Amazon sales, especially if they're fulfilling the orders themselves. So what we do is we've got retailers who include an offer on like a postcard or an insert with a QR code to download the app, because QR codes aren't dead.
Yeah.
I know everybody says it. I know they, I think there weren't a lot of practical applications for them before, but they're really starting to come back, especially now that you don't have to download a separate app to read them. And so we've got retailers who say, download our app, get 20% off, and they scan the QR code with their camera. They don't even have to click the camera, it just reads it, opens it, you download the app, and now you've sort of captured that audience right there. So that's something that we're seeing a lot of our retailers do. That's fantastic. And then sort of piggybacking on your other comment, there's some really interesting advertising opportunities. So we've got a client called Simply Oz. They sell Australian grocery products, and they're based out of Australia. They were building an app predominantly to get their repeat purchasers in Australia to kind of have the app and have direct communication. But our marketing team, we also have a marketing services team in-house who will promote your app and manage push notifications and geofencing and all of that. What we've done is we built a campaign to Australian expats living in the United States and promoted the app through predominantly Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. They were able to drive all new net acquisition that way. But what's really cool is that we've built in the Facebook SDK to our apps, and so we can actually target only people who have downloaded the app as well. So you can do app exclusive offers without targeting sort of everyone to only download your app. Once they're downloaded, you can go back and retarget them over and over. So I think a lot of retailers aren't aware of some of the advertising opportunities within the app space that are so similar to what you can do on a desktop site.
Yeah, it's like an entirely new channel of people that have clearly shown an above average interest in your business. It's amazing. Yeah. Casey, absolutely. This ran even a little longer than they usually are, but we got into a zone there. But I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'd love it if you would give us some closing notes on where everyone can find Shopgate, and then I'll let you enjoy your Friday.
Yeah. I think anybody that's looking for a way to connect with their audience on mobile should definitely reach out to us so we can talk about their strategy with with them. Going into next year, we're always, like I said, going to be focused on mobile apps, but we really want to help retailers figure out how to connect with their buyer where they are. And we've got experts on staff who that's what they do. And we've got partners like you guys who we work with to make sure that retailers are really set up. So I think I'd love to chat with you again in Q1 and talk to you about the solutions that we've launched. But yeah, I think shopgate.com, you can request a demo and we'd be more than happy to chat with you.
Perfect. Casey, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Enjoy your Friday, and I will talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.